All right. I got to mute my... I was listening to the music twice all the way through. It is time for POS Censored. And as I was listening to this music, I thought, you know what? I've got an idea. So I just wrote it down. I'm going to do it by next week. I'm going to make sure, if you're watching this most likely after and not watching us live, we did put it. It was at the bottom of the email. Probably get less people to read because we know you didn't read all the way down to the bottom where I told you this was going to be live. But I'm going to put a calendar event together because we do this every week. Right around 1:30, we go live, do the countdown, get that music. I love this music because it kind of reminds me I like to whistle. See, I can whistle. But I also like that I get to hang out just for a couple minutes with the man, as I called him today, the POS guru of POS Pros, Mr. Matt Proctor. How are you, Matt?
Hola. How are you, my friend? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing well. You know, some days this has been one of those weeks. We didn't even get to catch up a lot before we went live, but I have 3 kids with strep. So, you know, it's 3 for 3. Ooh. So far, I don't have strep. So let's hope I, don't get that.
Right. Fingers crossed. So, and by the way, if I'm the guru of POS, you're the guru of marketing there, Nate. Okay?
All right. Well, I appreciate that. So, all right. So today, so the first 3 weeks of the reboot of POS Uncensored, we have done kind of just overviews of hot sauce, then overview of POS Pros, an overview of hot sauce, mint. I guess it's first 4. This is our 5th week. I should remember that. And then we did quick POS. And so go back and catch those episodes. The overview of POS Pros is probably where you start if you haven't watched, and then you can watch each one. But today it's a little more broad. We're going to be talking about selling to restaurants. So the first question I'm going to have, because we haven't covered them all yet, and I'll bring up the screen here. Matt, what are the POS systems that we have that work best in restaurants and are more focused on restaurants than retail?
Absolutely. So right now, guys, we have 5 total point of sale systems that are great for the F&B space. Okay. When I say F&B, that means all food and beverage, whether it's QSRs, you'll hear us say that a lot. That's quick service restaurant, walk up, order, pay at the counter, like a Chipotle. Or if it is a FSR, full service restaurant, you've got table layouts, you've got servers walk around taking orders. So if you look at the top left here, we've got hot sauce, which you've already reviewed, fine dining, bars, nightclubs, full-on restaurants, and can do QSR. Mint, same thing, another software system. It's more of a hybrid model, but great for multi-location, full bars, restaurants. Quick POS on the top right is what we reviewed last week. Another great software for that restaurant environment. They do both environments extremely well, including food trucks. Paradise POS, we're going to do a segment here probably in the next couple of weeks about Paradise and how that's been a great system we've used for years. So that's good for that QSR environment as well. And then Salido on the far right there, which we are going to talk about that in an upcoming segment as well. Salido and Paradise are both iPad systems. Okay, so we have a lot of people out there, merchants already using Lavu, or they're using ShopKeep, and now they're adding full service food, things like that. Those are great solutions for people that either love iPads or tablets, or they already have that in place. We have two full systems that do that. Salido is extremely good for multi-location enterprising, and they're built for the fine dining platform. And so we have a lot of merchants with multi-locations that absolutely love Salido, and we're moving people over to them. So there's 5 right there. And that's not saying that we're going to add another one this next year. Have to wait to see.
But
it's exciting. We cover everything, Nate.
That is. I mean, in food and beverage, so let's start with the basics, Matt. You mentioned QSR. What are the different breakups of F&B? And a lot of times we'll say hospitality or restaurant, but how do you define the major segments? You kind of went over there a little bit as POS, but what are the major groupings of types of restaurants?
Yeah. I personally, Nate, I break them into 3. It's either a bar. Okay. And in that bar, just that general term of bar, I consider nightclubs, gentlemen clubs, and maybe they got food, but it's a small menu. So there's one big category of bar. And when I say bar, it's specific. They need bar tabs. They need to be able to pre-auth bar tabs. They need to be able to be fast, because if I'm in Bloomington, Indiana, down at IU campus, and they just beat Purdue like they did a few weeks ago, I've got 6 deep at every bar. So I need to be quick, bam, bam, bam. The less screens I tap, the better. So that's a bar environment. And then we have full service restaurants and quick service, QSR, FSR. Pretty much everything's going to fit into one of those 3. Okay, so a full service restaurant and bar is still considered on the full service restaurant side. Even though they have a bar, they need bar tabs, all that. They need table management. Okay, they need good food management, printing to multiple kitchen printers, and KDS screens, things like that. Okay, online ordering, QR codes, where QSR is totally different. They don't need that. They don't need any table management. They need 1 or 2 people standing up at the counter and they're answering phones. Okay, or they're having people walk right in and boom, they need a fast, quick, and easy use system. The less screens, the better. Okay, they still need to print to kitchen, KDS screens, whatever they want in the back, but they also need to maybe handle, like for pizza, a caller ID. Or they need to be able to have delivery functions. Not only connect to third-party deliveries, but maybe their own built-in delivery drivers. They got their drivers right here. They also want to make sure they can track where their drivers are going. So QSR is its own thing, FSR, and then the bar environment by itself. Those are the big 3 for me.
All right. So when you walk into a restaurant, and I think for most of our partners, probably when they're either connecting with the restaurant over the phone, but a lot of times they're walking in, what are the first things they should start asking as they build that relationship and that rapport to be able to do something in the POS field and be able to bring a lead over to POSlead.com and then the POS Pros team ready to help you and sell that? What are some of those first questions they should be asking, or maybe just things they should be observing as they're inside the building and they can kind of see this is where we start?
That's really the first part, Nate. It's observing more than the questions. Okay. Absolutely. There's great questions to ask. But I just speak for myself, within 1 to 2 minutes of me walking in anywhere, I've already got 10 questions probably in my head because I'm looking around. I'm looking if they have a POS. If they do, what is it? If it's a quick service environment, do they have a customer facing screen? Or is it just on their side of the counter? Right? Can I hear anything? Can I hear anything printing in the kitchen? Right? Do they have a full bar? I'm looking for how many stations they might have. All right. I'm looking for any other things I might notice, like the tablet for DoorDash. Okay. Or they've got that designated area for those drivers that come pick up their Uber Eats. So all those I'm kind of getting in my head, just, first walking in and trying to make the introduction, to the manager. Okay. Or owner, obviously, if I can get there. Okay. And then that's when the questions start coming in, because you've already kind of got in your head, okay, I've run into Clover a lot. Maybe you sold Clover for years. That's what they're using. Some people love it. Some people hate it, especially on the support side. So then that's where you roll out the questions. And really what you want to do is get them talking. Okay. These are restaurant people that want to talk. Look, I'm a restaurant guy. I talk way too much. All right. So you want to get them taught. What do you like? What do you dislike about your current POS? And they'll tell you. Obviously, you're going to save them tons of money on credit cards and all that, but you don't want to go in being that same credit card guy that everybody else is. Okay, you're there to help solve a problem for them. You're there to help save time and money with a better system in place. Okay, so let them do the talking and listen. They'll let you know. Well, I love it because my employees can clock in and all that, but I don't like that I can't stop them from doing things. They do voids and comps without me knowing. Or they might say, I am okay with this POS, but my rates are horrible. So if you can get me in a good POS and the better rates, be happy to look. All right. Sometimes they say, I'm about to throw this thing to the curb. Your timing's perfect, but I want it to be similar to this. Okay. So these are all these fun things you want to ask them. Maybe they have an iPad system and they don't like iPads and they're done with it. And they're like, yeah, we'd rather have a bigger screen. Perfect. We've got big 15-inch dynamic touchscreens that are meant to take a beating. Okay. So it's asking those questions. If you can't see anything listed there, ask if they're online ordering. Ask if they'd like to. Okay? Ask if they've ever thought about doing the QR codes, how their staffing is. Have you had any issues hiring people, keeping staff on board during these tough times? We have solutions for that, whether it be an actual handheld or whether it be QR codes for the table. What you want to do is you want to get them thinking about the future and how easily they can run their business in different ways. All right. A lot of times they don't realize that. They don't think about that. You want them to perceive you as their solutions expert, not just the sales guy walking in. You're walking in to relate to them and to be able to let them know that you can help them in some way. And you don't mention credit cards at all. I mean, yeah, you can. Almost everyone out there and everyone listening to this or on the call likes to do edge pricing, and that's great. You're going to save them a lot of money anyway. But if you come in as really that solution expert, knowing that, hey, I've got a whole team of POS experts. We've got multiple systems. And it really, I think a couple of them could be a great fit. Is that okay if, connect you with my point of sale team so that we can look? Guess what? They appreciate that because you're not a Harbor Touch guy. You're not just walking in trying to force digital dining down their throat or Clover or a one-stop shop. And believe me, owners I talk to daily, they're always surprised and happy that we've got multiple selections. I've got some merchants that have been with me now almost 7 years, and we've switched them probably to 3 different point of sale systems because throughout the years their needs change. And hey, Matt, I want to upgrade from this. What else do you might have? Absolutely. Guess what? This is one of my systems I brought on last year. You're going to love it. And so we keep them on board and processing with you. I don't get a dime from all this. I'm just keeping them on board. And I've got one in Florida that we're on system number 3. And they love every single one of them. They text me, they call me on my cell because I'm their POS guy. I don't get a dime off their processing. They do cash discount. They do good volume. But we've had that development, that relationship, and that rapport for years. And they know that I'm going to keep adding new systems and do what's right for them. Sorry, that was way long-winded.
Hey, no, I was letting you go. So as we look at that, let's maybe narrow it down. What are the top 1 or 2, maybe 3? I'm not sure. That set themselves apart are the things. These are the things that get them in the door to start that conversation. And then what are the things that restaurant owners will say they want, or managers that they want, and they probably aren't willing to and able to pay for it, or there's other things. What are those things that they think they want, and what are those things that they actually, this for sure, these are the top 3 things that get the conversation going?
Well, handhelds, almost everyone says they want them. Whether or not they need them or can afford them is a whole nother thing, or that they'll work. Too many times, even here in my city, I've walked in and I've seen handhelds sitting there not being used at all. And they paid a bunch of money for them and they didn't work or whatever. So that's a common misconception. They think they need handhelds. If they want them, yes. As of right now, absolutely. We have one system that does it really well, technically 2, and we've got 2 other systems that are adding it. So it's not like we don't have that as an actual option, but that's a common misconception. They think they need it. Matrix level inventory management. Okay, let's talk about inventory for a minute, because sometimes restaurant managers can think they need this, And if they do, we have it. But they really don't, because they don't have the time and effort and energy to actually put into building it correctly. So what I mean by that is it's not regular. POS systems can do inventory two different ways, just so that everyone here on the call knows this. They either break it down by the item level, which is common. That's what every single POS can do. That means I ring up this many burgers. I can run my reports. I sold this many burgers, this many Jack and Cokes, whatever it might be. Then there's what we call matrix level ingredient-based inventory. Okay. I've only seen one POS in my entire life that actually had that natively in their software integrate. Most systems like Micros and Aloha and whoever it might be, they either don't offer it or they offer it as a big add-on. It's very expensive. And if I have that inventory, that means I have all my recipes in. And when I ring up a burger, it's actually taking out 6 ounces of meat, an ounce of cheese, a half ounce of tomato, all that. That's another common thing that they'll think, I need to really break down my food costs. And that's great. We want them to focus on their food costs so they're making more money and their P&L looks better. Do they have to have matrix level inventory to do that? Absolutely not. They properly run their business and manage their par levels and inventory correctly. They don't have to have that in the POS. But we do have that, just so that you guys know. Okay, I spoke about a couple weeks ago. Our Mint POS has that built in. It just is very tedious to enter in every single recipe, every single ingredient, how much salt, pepper, sugar, that's there. So that's something that even I've run out in the field that they said that they need. Okay. The good thing is for you guys as the agents is that we have everything. All right. That's why we have all these systems, is that I've been filling gaps for years now to make sure we can cover this. So if they say, you know what, Nate, I thought about doing, I went to Steak and Shake or Hardee's or wherever, and I saw that kiosk, and that was pretty cool. We get, a line out the door, people walk up, and I think that'll really speed it up. Awesome. We've got a system that can do that. Can we schedule a demo for you and set that up? And that's our quick POS. They do a phenomenal job with kiosk. If you want to save a ton of money, then don't worry about the kiosk. Put a QR code right there, and guess what? The phone's their kiosk. Everyone can just walk up, bing, 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 scan with their phone, place their order, it go right to the kitchen. It goes right to the POS, and they're putting in their payment information right there. They just ordered through a phone with a kiosk, and it didn't cost the merchant $1,000 to have the hardware. Okay, so those are just a couple things. Okay, inventory is going to get brought up, as well as mobile devices or handhelds. Are they always needed? Absolutely not. And that's usually the management that's going to bring that up, not the ownership. Okay. The management will say that because they saw their buddy down the street at their restaurant is using toast and they thought it was cool because they have one handheld. Doesn't mean they always need it.
So how about, I'm going to use two examples that I think everyone will relate to. How does location change how you present to a restaurant? So I'm going to use two different locations. Let's say I'm going to use real life locations. Warsaw, Indiana, population 20,000 people versus Indianapolis, population 1 million plus, over 2 million in the greater area, has a downtown. So if you walk into a restaurant that is in Center City, Indianapolis, at the bottom of a high rise, let's say, I'm going to use a real example. Tinker Coffee going into 360 Market Street, an old Starbucks. They're taking it over. They're a local, I think this is their third location, coffee place. And they're going in and they're going to have a much bigger overhead and a different system, but it's still a coffee shop versus a coffee shop that's opening up in Warsaw, Indiana, population 20,000. Does that change when you walk into a place and how things operate and what your expectations should be?
Absolutely. It changes everything. All right. And that's on, you guys to really set that expectation, because when you're in the bigger city and you know that every single buddy, next door, they're paying 30, 40 grand for their POS system. Well, you'd be a little more comfortable. Okay. That opens the door a little more to, okay, well, let's assess exactly what your needs are, because obviously you are paying a lot of money just to be in this space. You're paying another 6 figures to do the remodel and everything here. Let's not go crazy and spend too much on POS, but tell us all of your needs and we'll find that solution that can do all those, and we'll work on getting that cost down the best we can. Where on the flip side, when I did drive all over Indiana and I went to Lafayette up in Purdue and Marion, Indiana, and Wabash and these different places, it's a whole different story because, the merchants there are doing everything they can. We want to keep those doors open. Okay. It's all about how can we get you in a good system that's cost effective for your business and is going to meet as many requirements as we can. And sometimes that's tough because we've had merchants in small towns that they only do 20 grand a month in credit card volume, but they want the moon. And they don't realize that it's going to cost them $8,000 up front that they can't afford to have the moon. And we have to explain to them, okay, how can we help grow your business with a solution that can still do a lot of that, but that's cost effective? Okay, maybe we look at Paradise POS. Okay, maybe we look at Hot Sauce instead of jumping right to Quick. Because right now with your 12-seat diner in Warsaw, you don't need a handheld. And that's where the education comes in. That's where my team comes in. Okay, to really get comfortable with that owner, talk about expectations and how we're here to help and get them in a great solution that's not going to cost them arm and a leg, because we need to keep their doors open. Where it's not the case in a big city. They're going to sink a bunch of money into it. They're going to be busy as hell because the Big Ten tournament's about to come into town, and they need a system to do X, Y, and Z and everything they want it to do. Perfect. We'll find that system. That's a great question, yeah. Nate, because a lot of our agents obviously are all over the country and very different demographics and markets based on where they're selling.
Yeah, you got to know your where you're selling, who you're selling to, know your demographic, and it's going to be, and especially in restaurants. I think restaurants that are in larger cities, and you can feel it. I think you get a general feel. Like I haven't had the restaurant F&B background that Matt has, but I've been in this POS side of this and I can walk in and I can pretty well guess how much they've volume of charge, what they paid for the systems, why they do, because you can quickly start guessing, okay, they may want this, but they're not going to be able to pay $8,000, $10,000, $30,000 for what they say they want and say they need a lot of times. And so we've got to put those in. So talk to me, Matt, about the best, you don't name names, but the best PayProtect partners. How do they utilize, when selling to restaurants, utilize you? What's their most successful process, from contact to the restaurant to handing off the lead to being able to work with them? Those who are the most successful at selling to restaurants, what's their process look like, and how do they utilize and work with you?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I've got a ton of them, that I've worked with for years, that, my longtime friends and PayProtect agents throughout the country that do a phenomenal job. And really what they're doing, they're developing the relationship, and they've already developed it so much before they even reach out to me and my team. Sometimes it's with already pre-selling. Okay. Because maybe they've seen Paradise before. Maybe they've seen Hot Sauce from one of our other systems, and they know that could be a great fit here. So they're already discussing that with the merchant. Sometimes they've already shown a picture. Here's what the hardware looks like. Wouldn't this be nice to have a nice big 15-inch screen? They're like, yeah. Well, how about we get Matt and my POS guys involved? Hey, can we show you a demo of that? Absolutely. Okay, so it's such a great soft handoff that they're doing every single time. And we're either already scheduling the demo with the agent because the agent already has some dates and times available, and they let us know right away, guys, he's ready to see this system next Tuesday at this time. Okay. Or it's gotten to the point where they've already discussed with the merchant exactly who from our team's going to be reaching out, because maybe they work with Alex or Tim or whoever all the time. And by the time it comes over to us, it's more of, hey, Alex, please call him. He's waiting for you. He knows you're calling from this number. Go ahead and schedule a demo and see which system would best for them. And so it's what they do from the very beginning, the rapport that they build. A lot of them are in smaller markets. They just are. They get a lot of great referrals because they're friends with these owners. And I love that. That's how I did business when I was out in the street, is I got to know you. We became friends. You have to trust me. I'm putting my trust in you. You're going to use my services. You trust me. You can text me. You need anything, paper, stuff like that. So yeah, they just do an amazing job from the very beginning. And then my team can enjoy spending time more of a training level with their people. Yes, it's a demo, but it's more of walking through the expectations. What's going to happen next? When are things going to ship? You're going to get a DocuSign. You're going to get an invoice. That way they feel comfortable in the entire process, and it's sold. By the time the demo's done, they're like, oh my God, this is great. Let's sign off on it. And those are hands down our most successful agents that consistently do 5 to 10 point of sale systems through my office every month.
What is let's talk a little more about the process. So it sounds to me one of the most important things, get and use the POS Pros team and go to poslead.com to get them to the right spot and getting them to the demo, and then getting that proposal in their hands so they know what their options and opportunities are. As they make that, what are the hiccups that happen that make a sale? So the sale is going to happen. You got the proposal. What are the reasons that they don't get the sale? What are the reasons they do get the sale, specifically in restaurants? Why are we winning and why are we losing?
This particular agent was just calling me as we're doing this right now. Pre-selling the wrong system. Okay, some of our agents really love some of our systems. Okay, and that you get comfortable with it. I totally get that. When you install it, you're there to see it all working, and you love it. You're like, oh my gosh, I only want to sell X. Okay, I only want to sell hot sauce. I only want to sell this, and that can put you in a bind. Yeah, I don't expect any agent out there to be an expert like my team is. It takes months of training with all these systems. And so don't put your foot in your mouth. Don't pre-sell something. If then you find out later the merchant never told you they really wanted 3 more things and this system can't do it. Okay. You think it's hot sauce, but they really need remote access and they're going to open 3 more locations. They need enterprise. Hot sauce can't do any of that. All right. Then we're in a bind because we're wasting the merchant's time. We're wasting our time because you might have already scheduled a hot sauce demo. Then we're finding out that we need to do a whole different demo. And the worst thing you can do is talk about money with them because now you already threw out they're going to give them free stations and we have to go to Quick or Mint and it's going to be $5,000. Okay. That's the worst. Then we lose the sale completely because you can't get back from that because we're showing them what they want. That's a tough recovery for the agent to then go back and say, well, you might not be able to afford this. So do you want to take some features away? And that's the whole wrong way to do it. We want to set the right expectations from the very beginning, not put these people in a bad spot. Okay. And get the right features for them. And so that's where it doesn't always go through. And then the same thing, if agents are trying to only sell the F word, okay, which we don't say the word free because nothing's free, but they're trying to only do that. And some merchants don't do much volume and they're not getting a big discount. And there's an upfront of $1,500 or $2,000. And then that could lose a deal because the agent doesn't realize that this costs a lot of money. So either you have to pay that $1,500 if you say it's free or the merchant's going to pay. And so you can really put yourself in a bind if that's the way you're selling. Honestly, it's not selling. It's just giving things away. But there are some of our offices out there that do that, and they're very successful. But just be cautious if you're doing that as giving everything away. Sometimes it doesn't always work.
I mean, I think the ultimate is making sure you have transparency, that you are, being honest, and then, not committing to something that you don't know yet. So allowing to lean on that POS Pros team to actually help that restaurant. So let's talk about implementation, because restaurants are probably it can be very simple. I'm going to use a major In-N-Out burger, and they sell, 12 things and 3 secret menu items, and that's it. Or they can be extremely complex. What does it look like when you choose a system? They say, yes, I want to go. This price works. This all happens, and they're looking to actually get installed. I know that a lot of times there are a lot of hiccups sometimes on those things. What are those hiccups? How can we prevent them or nurture and make sure that we're getting through it in the best way?
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought this up. Great question. So, and this is funny because this is how agents have been scared of POS for years. They don't want to mess with it. It's not like a VX520 or Painting where I can just throw it in there and walk away and be done. It is a process. It's something we discuss on the demo. There's got to be a little patience there. On general, just throw this out there for everyone. Any POS we sell, the correct time frame to quote a merchant would be 3 to 4 weeks to do it right. Okay, to properly go through every step, menu review, training, installation, everything, another training, for their staff, making sure that everyone's ready. you'll be smart to put those expectations of a month. Okay. Can it be done faster? 100%. Yes, we have some systems we can get them up and going in a couple weeks. Okay. But that is not the norm. That is not the expectation. There are times every single year this happens. We just had it happen during Super Bowl. Okay. Agents put in a lead. They say they need to get up and running by Super Bowl. It's in 10 days. That's not going to happen. It's not realistic. And that's the agent's fault for not setting those expectations to a merchant. Okay. This isn't a bank where you can just have a clover shipped out. It's not programmed. Things that hold up the process are communication with the merchant and the POS company. Okay. They're reaching out right away to the owner. We place that order with them. We get all that hard order. They're getting ready to ship stuff, and they're reaching out. They want to start scheduling out what's going to happen this next week and a half. A day and time for menu review. Then we're going to do the go live, and we're going to do the training. Okay, then we're going to do install. Now, every POS system has their own order. One big thing that holds that up is when the merchant never responds to it. And they don't just try via phone. They'll call, they'll shoot an email, they'll text. They'll try multiple different ways. That way, if the merchant doesn't answer because he doesn't know the number, he'll still, or he or she will still get an email, follow-up, welcome emails from us. And so that's really hindered us in the past, is they'll spend a whole week trying to get in touch with the owner, sometimes calling the agent too, like, hey, help us. Then they reach back out to my team and say, hey, guys, we can't get in touch with this person. Are they still wanting to move forward? Okay, so we preach that through in and throughout in our demos about communication. Depending on the system, we'll tell the merchant right there who's going to be reaching out. Okay, you're going to have Savannah or Erica or Michelle or Josh, is going to be reaching out to you. Speak with them, talk to them, get comfortable with them, because they're going to schedule everything and help you with training. But the whole process done the right way, 3 to 4 weeks, they're up and good. But we can do it faster. I just don't like any of my team promoting that, because things always come up. There's holidays, there's shipping issues. Christmas is the worst when people want a POS a week and a half before Christmas. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, and maybe some
year, yeah. Classic.
Yep. So what are things for a newbie to PayProtech and a newbie to even maybe selling to restaurants and point of sale? What are a couple things that you would recommend they do to help them build to be more successful? How would you help them start?
Learn the industry the best you can, and however you like to learn, that's up to you. If you want to do blogs or whatever, but just go out to eat. Go out to eat and be observant. That's it.
What a tough job. Got to go out to eat.
Be very observant. Not at how the server's talking to you or whatever it might be, but look at how they're running the operation. Find the manager. See what they're doing. Okay. See how they're running things behind the bar. See how the servers are doing it. All right. Where are the tickets printing at the bar? At the station, they have a separate ticket printer. Just getting to know the workflow of the restaurant will help you greatly. And then when we get one of these closed, okay, one of my experts does the demo and we get one of these closed, be involved. The more you can be involved in your very first restaurant point of sale deal, you're going to learn so much. The more it's going to help you in the future, big time, because you'll be there to see, okay, yeah, we need to do a little more training. Yep, menu review is extremely important, because guess what? These 10 modifiers were missing because we never knew they needed those. So now we're adding in extra cheese for $1. And suddenly you're like, oh my gosh, I understand this so much better when you're walking in the place down the street and you say, hey, have you been down to Joe's? Yeah, we set them up that point of sale. He loves it. I'd love to see if you're interested, maybe looking at a demo as well. And you become that expert. And it can start by just selling one of these. And you don't even have to sell it. That's what my team's for. Just get us into the door.
And I think just go and don't go to restaurants. Don't go to Red Lobster or Darden restaurants or the chains.
Right.
find and support local independent restaurants, things that have single location, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 locations if you're in a bigger town, and they've gotten, and start paying attention to how things work, not just how your food is served to you and how you like your food, but that's important in a restaurant, but that's not anything you're able to help with. What you're able to help with is how the operations work. And so choose maybe QSRs and I'm going to go to several QSRs and kind of observe how they work, because I think those are the ones. I'm going to ask you, Matt, and then because I was about to share my opinion, I'm going to ask your opinion because you're actually much more educated. Which of the bars, full service, QSRs, which ones are the ones that have the most need and opportunity right now in the restaurant business for a new point of sale? What do you think?
I mean, I've obviously new businesses. Anyone out there that can get a list on new businesses that are submitting for their licenses. I forget where I used to get it for the state of Indiana, but those lists are huge. If you haven't already thought about that in your state and your city, you can actually they're free to the public. You can get a list of new businesses opening. Same thing. If you can get involved in any organizations, one of my large groups. She's actually the president of the Houston Restaurant Association down in Houston, Texas, and that's huge. Everyone goes through her when they're opening a restaurant, and guess what? She goes through me for POS systems. Making those type of connections are great. And Nate, because you've been to some of these with me, but the last few places just around here, I don't sell anymore. I don't go out in the street, but you better believe I walk into the bagel shop right down the street and I see an old school cash register that they're, clanking on. I'm going to give them a POS system, even when I'm out and about, I'm like, hey, can I show you a system I think will really help you out? And they were super open to it. It blew my mind because they're a busy shop. And she's like, yeah, we thought about it throughout the years, but we're really wanting to start looking at it. Great. Here's my card. I'll bring some info for you. And I know you've been to that bagel shop, Nate. I just can't think of that.
Yes. No. Well, it just says bagels on the outside, and it's Bagel Fair, I believe, is the
Bagel
actual
Fair,
name.
Yeah. But like Indy Tacos, you and I have been to Indy Tacos a bunch. I was just there Sunday, actually swapping out a piece of hardware for him because that's my merchant from years ago. And it was just me and you and Kramer, I think, when he worked here, eating lunch there. And we noticed that he's using a cash register. We got to talking with him. He's a great guy. Got to know him and his wife really well. Set him up in Paradise. Kitchen printer, one station. He loves it. That was like 5 years ago.
Well, and I think
have those conversations when you're out and about.
Yep. Well, and this is full service, and I was about to, probably should have preempted showing this, but this is full service restaurants. Notice this bar growth right here. This is coming into 2023, what they expect. 2020, COVID, for a big dip, everything, but look what's growing. And if I didn't quickly find it, but I know the graph is identical and slightly bigger with QSR. There are more QSR starting than full service, but look at the growth. There's more and more restaurants. This is just full service restaurants that are in single locations, 156,715, expecting a 2% growth. There is a lot of opportunity in restaurants. Don't be scared for it. A lot of people say, I don't mess with restaurants because everybody's taking them. There is some major growth happening, especially as people are people love to start restaurants, and there'll be dips and dives in restaurants, but they love to start restaurants during these times, especially downturns make more restaurants start. It's really bizarre fact. And
especially with the property, the fact that the property drops so much, people can actually get into these great leases and get a spot to open up. But no, everyone wants to go out right now, guys. Everyone's tired of the last 2.5 years.
Yep.
People want to get back out there. People are working from home. They're tired of sitting at home. Where they want to go? Out to eat.
Yeah.
Period. I mean, we've seen a huge upchange in that over the last 2 years.
All right. I'm sure we'll go over this topic again, but is there anything else you want to highlight when selling to restaurants that I haven't asked a question about today, Matt? It's always my good catch-up question at the end.
No, because it's such a learning experience. Just what we talked about today by asking simple questions and listening, taking notes, of what exactly their issues are and problems. You're going to understand restaurants so much better. I could spend 5 hours training you exactly, how to operate your full service restaurant. But, it's one of those things that we want you guys to be put in that environment and be comfortable with it. They want you to be a patron. And that's why, we talk about eating there. They want to know, like, you're providing money for their business. You're not just walking in a suit and tie as that traveling sales guy. You're going in to have lunch, to get to know them and how the business is going. And I've done a lot of that startup conversation with managers, just ask them how things are going. How's it been, man, with staffing and everything? Half the time they only know what you're talking about. They just are happy to talk.
Yep.
They'll talk to you.
So many opportunities right now. Go out there and sell to restaurants. It's a great opportunity. I'll highlight again, you can always learn more going over to mypapertech.com. I'm already one page in, but you can get into, just click over here and click on the point of sale. Each of it, just go to POS General, learn some. You can go dig and dive and get, other things. We're putting more and more materials out there. Probably every week to 2 weeks, there's something new that's in the POS section. And then on top of that, you can start go over to put your leads in, go over to poslead.com, nurture that relationship, and you can jump right over there and start building that relationship with the POS pros. It's going to set you apart in the industry. It's going to make you more and more effective and efficient as being a salesperson to restaurants. We'll talk about other things in there, but man, restaurants is growing extremely fast. Be in the game. Okay. Don't let everyone else, and you can set yourself apart by walking in and saying, man, I've got 5 or more systems that I think you should take a look at. Let's talk through what you need. And I have a whole team of people. Man, you're set apart right away. It's not just you. It's you and the whole POS Pros team and PaperTech. We're here to help you walk you through this and make sure that you're successful. So
absolutely. No other credit card guy walking in there has that to offer at all. So
all right. So we will be back next week. I don't even know what the topic is, but around 1:30 on Thursdays. And look when our emails this week, I'm going to put a calendar place where you can just subscribe in the calendar. So every time, and then I've already got in my head how I'm going to do it. We're going to be able to make it so I can just put the new link in from YouTube every week. Also, subscribe on YouTube. That's always helpful. We're about to cross over 500 subscribers. We're getting there. We're not trying to be viral. We're content for payment professionals, payment entrepreneurs that are building their business. We know there are a ton of you, but there are more than 1,000. My goal is to get to 1,000 here pretty quickly. So subscribe, ring that bell. Make sure you're getting all of our content. Matt Proctor, thank you so much. Thanks for being part of the POS Pros team and the ultimate POS guru. And we will see you next time on POS Uncensored. See you guys.
Thank you, Nate. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.